folks, welcome to a Friday edition of Scott2ube. We have got a jam-packed show today, so I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to get right to it. Want to tell you what you're going to be seeing. We got a little memes with Mahalik, kind of wrapping up our week. My buddy Austin Lewis is going to take you out into the woods, show you how to exercise if you don't have equipment. And then Mrs. Walton is going to be here with a special guest for her cooking segment today.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, I'm going to do Memes with Mahalik. This is the third episode. And in the third episode, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to look into expectation versus reality. And you're going to see a little bit of Mrs. Mahalik's reality. We're going to begin with the draft this week. And obviously, we had a little bit of difference between reality and expectation. But here is Mrs. Mahalik's reality. Grilling with Dunn looked like a lot of fun, but this is truly something that happened at Mrs. Mahalik's house not too long ago. I was not cooking, but one of my household members was. I loved watching Mrs. Coverdale's dogs this week, but this is what I believe the reality looked like when that dog came home. And this is the reality I believe that many of us have seen in our own households with homework, or so I've been told. Mr. Schmidt, you have your games and I have the ones I might enjoy, but this is what it looks like at my house in reality. I definitely want to take a minute to say thank you to all of those unsung heroes that we talked about, the bus drivers and the lunch ladies who have done a great job. My kids have loved every lunch they've picked up. And I just wanted to say thank you and thought I would include Lord of the Rings as well. I also want to say thank you to all of the administration, our janitors, and all of the others who help make SCSD2 a success. Well, it's springtime and it's time for baseball, but it's also time for turkey hunting, as Bagwell mentioned last week, and mushroom hunting. I just want to say that this is my kind of mushroom hunting. For the movie recommendations, we had Pretty in Pink, and here's a little bit of expectation versus reality. You can see Mrs. Mahalik in pink at the beginning of the movie today. And then finally, we have a little bit from the Avengers in expectations versus reality. I thoroughly enjoyed watching Miss Johnson tie-dye today, and I loved her TikTok, but let's be honest, the reality for me with tie-dye would be this. And if I tried to do a TikTok, it would end like this. Okay, the reality is I didn't even try baking donuts because it would look like these. Now this is Mrs. Morris's reality when she went hiking, but me, I would be this person lost in the woods. Okay, freshmen, this may be your expectation versus reality right now, and maybe procrastination is a virtue, but it's time for all of you to get together and get a karaoke video ready for us. Okay, the English teacher and me had to end with a pun. I'll see you next week with more Memes with Mahalik.
Alright, if you don't have a gym at home, these are 5 exercises you can do during quarantine. Alright, the first one is the log flip, and this helps out with your legs. Alright, number 2 is the log chop, where you can also use a sledgehammer and a tire, but this helps out with your upper body and your cardio endurance. Alright, number 3 is the log squat, and this will help out with your legs. This is the box jump. It helps with your legs and cardio. Alright, number 5 is the rope climb, and this helps with your upper body.
My kids love ramen noodles, but you can't find them right now, and they're not too healthy for you. So what will we do?
my name is Gavin. I am in the 4th grade, and today I will show you my secret noodle sauce. What you do is you fill up a tiny bowl or a big bowl, anything's necessary. It depends on the amount of noodles you're making.
And what sauce did you just put in?
I used soy sauce, all-purpose seasoning, which you fill it up, which you use that and you fill it up in the bottom. Then you take your original teriyaki sauce. And also you could use different kinds of teriyaki. I'm using this one because of food pantry of you guys might have this one. It's just optional, whatever you have. And then you pour this one or this one into your bowl, and then you should see a light spot start to appear in the center. It will kind of fade away, but you can still see it. And then that's where your sriracha comes in, and you pour that in there. And then you could put, and then if you want, you could do just a tiny bit over, but not too much, because then, well, it depends on how much you like spice. I like spicy stuff, but if you want more spice, you could just add it to your noodles.
But your brother doesn't, so we don't add as much. Now, Gavin, what's happened before it got too salty because we used too much soy sauce? So how do we fix that? Do you remember what we added?
And if it gets too salty, add brown sugar, and that'll take away some of the salty taste, and it'll thin everything back out, and it'll make it taste better, but that's only if it gets a little bit salty.
So you always want to taste your sauce before you put it on your noodles, right? And make sure it's right before you mix it all in.
Yes. That, like I said at like the very beginning of it, it depends on the size of your noodles. If you make like if you have like a 10-person family, you need like a bigger bowl. If you have a medium-sized family, you need a medium-sized bowl. Have a small one, you need a small bowl. It just depends on your size of noodles. If you're just having a snack for yourself, like you're just hungry, or like you just got off of work and you want to make yourself some noodles, that's fine. You just need the bowl like this, and this will get your noodles perfect.
All right, folks, we've got a special segment for you coming up here on Scott2ube. The next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing some interviews with some folks that you're going to recognize from all of the buildings in our district. First up is my interview with Miss Kristen Nass. Miss Nass has been the principal of Scottsburg Middle School for the past 25 years. We talk about how she got there, her experiences while she's been there, and what her plans are as she gets ready to retire. I think you're in for a special treat. So, well, folks, I'm here with Miss Kristen Nass, principal of Scottsburg Middle School for a couple more weeks anyway, right? As she is getting ready to retire, she's kind of said, hey, she'd sit down with us, talk with us a little bit about her educational career, and just have a little bit of fun. So, Ms. Nass, thanks for agreeing to meet with us.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Bagwell. Jason, it's a thrill to talk to you and your global Scott2ube channel audience. I've been watching your episodes, and I'm really excited to see the content that you guys are producing. I love it. It's an honor to be here today and talk to you guys a little bit about this big transition in my life, and I'm ready for any question that you want to give us.
All right, sounds great. Now, I appreciate you mentioning the global audience. Jonas is actually probably watching this. So Jonas over there in Germany, hey, how you doing? So we do have a truly global audience. So, one of the things, I'm a huge superhero guy, and I love superhero movies. I'm a little bummed that, some of them had to get moved, but the first one's always an origin story. Can you give us your origin story?
Sure. I tell you what, I have a very bizarre origin story. I'm an Iowa girl. My family's from Iowa. And I had been teaching PE and health at a middle school in Iowa for 11 years, and had been finishing up my master's degree in educational administration. And so I was getting my inner bossy going at that time. And all of a sudden during the school day, I got a phone call. I got called to the office, and on that phone was a guy named Dr. Chuck Thompson. And he was a superintendent here in Scott2. And he said, I want you to come and take a job here in Scottsburg. And it was really out of the blue. I had not applied for the position. I wasn't aware of the position. As luck would have it, he knew in a professional organization my major professor at Iowa State. And I think he was looking for somebody who would be brave and cheap. And so my name came up. And so I got this call out of the blue. And I remember hanging up in the office and having two competing interests. One interest was to run to the library at the time and open up the atlas and find out where Scottsburg, Indiana was. And the second competing interest was to go to the bathroom and throw up because I was so nervous about, am I ready? But it was an interesting story. They flew me out here. I got a chance to see Scottsburg and see the campuses, meet the kids, the administration, a lot of the teachers. I got to go to, I think, what was a sectional basketball game in Madison. So I survived that, and so they brought me on board, and so that was 25 years ago. Planned to come here and stay for 2 years, but I found out that this is a pretty special place. So 25 years later, that's the story.
What a cool! I've never heard that story before. How cool! And not even seeking the job just kind of sought you. So
I was a lucky girl, that's for sure.
Very cool, very cool. So I'm a high school guy. And middle school is kind of a special time of life. Having a middle schooler now, I can see some of those challenges. I remember my own middle school experience. Do you remember your own middle school experience? Has that had any impact on you?
Jason, you're asking a lot because my middle school experience was quite a long time ago. Back in that day, for me, it was a junior high, and I think there are probably two primary things that I remember that really drive me as an administrator. I remember a lot of interest in social activity. I wasn't really into the drama and that sort of thing, but I just remembered being overly concerned about everything I wore, everything I said, and every interaction I had with peers. And so that's something that kind of drives me today, of remembering that is a critical part of development for middle school kids. And it certainly was for me, 1,000 years ago. And then I also remember, when I think about my schooling, I remember the harder teachers. And it was interesting because I don't remember them with any anger or frustration. I remember them with appreciation, because looking back, those were some of the teachers that really pushed me to develop academically, to develop my skills. And so that also drives me now to think, we don't need to be afraid of some of the more challenging teachers. They're the ones that are going to make a difference for us. So when I think back, it's social, and it's those hard teachers. Mr. Manser was my language arts teacher, and I remember him as being like a really aggressive looking bald eagle. He had like 4 hairs, and he was just on it. And but I will remember him and appreciate him to this day.
Yeah. Did you know you always wanted to teach? Was that something where you felt that, or?
Actually, no. When I started out as a young kid, I was interested in architecture, and I did lots of design activities. I took design courses in high school, and I started at Iowa State University in the School of Architecture and the School of Design. And at that same time, I started coaching. I came from a swimming family, and I started coaching little kids swimming. And I realized, boy, do I want a path where I'm working with kids, or do I want a path where I'm working at a drafting table with pencils and rulers? And I thought, you know what? I think I feel better trying to make a difference and trying to connect with kids. And so I shifted to education, and it's been that ever since.
There you go. So now 25 years, obviously, as a principal is a big deal. What kind of things have changed? What look back over 25 years, what have you seen? What's been the evolution?
You know, I think I probably am tasked today to do the same job I was tasked to do 25 years ago, which is to provide the best environment for the best teachers to do their best work and get the kids striving to the best of their potential, and just, you know, really taking care of the organization and being both the leader and also the problem solver. And, you know, I think all those tasks are the same. I think probably some of the changes are the working hours. I look back to the early times back in our old building on 3rd Street, and I don't even know what I would have been doing. It was pre-social media, and there were a few, you know, behavior issues to deal with. But now the hours, instead of, you know, show up at 7:30 and go at 4, now it seems like every waking hour you're a principal, and you're engaging with kids and families long into the evening. And it's just a bigger job, more comprehensive. And of course, one of the changes that is good news, bad news is this whole social media piece. I think that is a shift in education that I know impacts all of you as teachers and families and parents and kids, but that's been one of the big shifts, the responsibility for kids' behavior outside of the school walls.
Yeah. That's been something I've noticed the last couple of weeks, even, is it's hard not to work every minute you're awake. You know, because It's always, you know, an email's coming in, something's happening here or there. And so setting those boundaries and saying, hey, you know, this, you know, I'm going to compartmentalize, this is when I'm going to do this, or, you know, this is when I'm going to go mess in the flower beds and, you know, take a little bit of a mental break has been something important. So, any highlights from those 25 years? What stands out in your mind?
You know, if I look back, there have been so many blessings about working here. I would say, you know, one of the early opportunities that I was given was to help build this building and design it and kind of create all the, you know, my goodness, I got to like number the classrooms and name the areas and be involved in just, you know, producing that, and then being able to put all these amazing staff members together is another big opportunity that I've had that I'll always remember. You know, the technology innovations that we've all gone through in the district, I think that's something I feel really proud of and to be a part of in my small way. But probably one of the biggest things that I look back on that I feel good about is trying to memorize 5,000 kids' names as they've gone through the middle school, because that's something that's been important to me. And but I think my brain is full, so I need to stop now because I can't memorize any more names. Yeah. But those are some of the things that have been opportunities and things that I'm proud of through the time. The relationships with kids, all of that's been really, really awesome.
Yeah. Well, and you got to do a little bit of the architecture stuff then anyway, right? Absolutely.
Absolutely. I remember sitting in one of the little rooms in under Meyer Gym. I think now it might be where the officials meet. We sat there with an architect, and I remember sitting there with Richard Hurt and some of the other folks that were really committed to this transition project, and sitting with a blank piece of paper and drawing, you know, with the architects what the school would look like. So that's a tremendous opportunity. Very few people have that opportunity, and it's something that I'll always cherish.
Yeah, very cool. So one of the things that I always enjoyed as a kid was the television show MASH. You remember MASH?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, my mom was a huge fan. I've seen all the reruns. Well, Alan Alda, the guy that played Hawkeye, has a communication podcast now that I like to listen to, and so he's got a segment at the end where he does just kind of some rapid fire questions with the people he's interviewing. So I've got a couple of those, if that's all right, and I'm just going to spit them at you, and you answer, and I'll spit the next one at you. All right?
Go for it.
So tell me about someone who's had a great impact on your life.
Okay. Here's my someone. Rose Burns Roseberry Smith. Can I have that be one person? Those are my 4 assistant principals over 25 years.
Oh, okay.
Best team members ever, and they have really made the difference for me.
Okay, so Roseberry, I know.
Yeah, and Chuck Rose was my first assistant principal for 2 years in the
Really?
old building. Yes, Chuck Rose for 2 years before he left to become an elementary principal and on to great fame at central office.
Yeah.
And then Paul Burns was a science teacher with our building, and then stepped in and served as assistant for many years. But without the key assistant principal, and what an amazing thing to have only 4 assistants over a 25-year span. But I would say that would be the AP role has been the most influential for me and made the most difference for me.
Very cool. Now, it doesn't have to be education related, but it can be if you want it to be. What do you wish you really understood?
Well, there's a lot I don't understand, but I probably need to say TikTok.
Oh, there you go. You haven't got your TikTok account yet?
No, I have an account. I've not ventured into much of my own performance. I've been watching a few, but it's something I'm looking forward to in my retirement. So be ready.
Becoming a TikTok mogul. That's what you're looking forward to?
Absolutely.
But we'll all be following that very closely then. What do you wish other people understood about you?
Ooh. People probably don't know this, but I am intensely competitive. If you ask my own staff or central office administrators, they're going to know I'm competitive. And if you ask my fantasy football league team members, you'd also know that. But I'm fiercely competitive. Even though I'm a little bit chill, I'm very competitive.
Okay. The most important quality in a friend is?
I'm going to say accountability, because if your friend doesn't help you be accountable to your goals, then I think you're missing an opportunity. So I'd say accountability.
Okay. Finish this thought. Now that this part of my career is over, I know I've been successful because.
I'm going to say because I know everybody at Walmart.
and do you remember all
by name? I know a lot of the parents by name. I know a lot of the kids, and of course many of the parents of my current kids. I had those kids, when they were in school. So I think just getting a chance to know just about everybody in town has been my accomplishment.
There you go. There you go. So, well, let's finish up here talking about what's next for you. What are you going to do? And then if you've got any advice for those kiddos, those community members, really that you've worked with, what's the next step?
Well, thank you. That's a good question, right? And a lot of people have been, curious about what's going to happen. I'm going to stay in town. I have a house that's paid for. I'm not going to incur any more debt. But I am going to spend some time traveling and seeing family members. I have a lot of family in Iowa and in Tennessee, and I've got a lot of nieces and nephews that do school activities that I can never attend because I'm usually linked into school activities here. So the fall is going to be kind of devoted to family and then figuring out what I want to do in my next chapter, because I know I'm not done. I just got to figure that out. As far as recommendations for kids or for students, words of wisdom, probably, always be learning. I'm looking forward to, I'm always learning every day. I hope everybody learns. I think that's how you stay. It's just good all the way around. And also, sow smart seeds, because seeds I sowed back in Iowa State University's master's classes out of the blue provided my opportunity. So I would sow good seeds, because you never know when your opportunity for a 25-year career is going to come at you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Kristen. I appreciate it. I know, speaking for your colleagues who maybe didn't get to be in your building, that we have appreciated all your hard work, your leadership. I've always enjoyed anytime we got to be in meetings and committees together, because I knew Kristen's going to get to the point. She's going to, she's going to be right there and help us focus on what the main thing is. But congratulations on a 25-year career. We're grateful as a community for the impact you've made on us.
All right. Well, thank you very much for this time today and the opportunity to speak to your global audience, including Jonas.
Yeah.
I hope you have a great rest of your COVID time, and I look forward to future episodes.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that's it for another week. We're going to hit the happy birthdays, and then stick around, because I have got what I'm sure is going to be your favorite part of the show. We have got a song. You thought Baby Shark was a good song. Wait until you see Scott2ube's Baby Goats.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Baby goat, do 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 do. Baby goat, do 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 do. Baby goat, do 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 do. Baby goat. Mommy goat, do 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 do. Mommy goat, do 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 do. Hold on. Can we just make this about the babies? Baby goat, do 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 do. Baby goat, do 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 do. Baby goat, do 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 do. Baby goat. Let's all play, do 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 do. Let's all play, do 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 do. Let's all play, do 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 do. Let's all play. Now let's jump, do 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 do. Now let's jump, do 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 do. Now let's jump, do 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 do. Now let's jump. Let's run fast, do 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 do. Let's run fast, do 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 do. Let's run fast, do 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 do. Let's run fast. Time to eat, do 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 do. Time to eat, do 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 do. Time to eat, do 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 do. Time to eat. Now let's rest, do 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 do. Now let's rest, do 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 do. Now let's rest, do 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 do. Now let's rest. Baby goat, do 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 do. Baby goat, do 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 do. Baby goat, do 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 do. Baby goat.